Yo, big peace, big peace. What up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. We got a special edition coming through. It's Sunday SENSIMILLA sermon. I didn't really plan to just come across this video and we put it up. Typical, I guess I'd say, some might say, in the typical, oh, King Dave, bro. Thanks for coming through. Much peace, man. It's really cool to see you and everybody do check out, take this chance to say, if you haven't checked out the Felon Show, do check that out up on YouTube. Really awesome show, grassroots, down to earth type shit, getting the people to think and to see different sides of life. Um, so make sure to do that. But I'm just here doing like trying to get this advocate stream out. I'm just enjoying some Beacon Whopper and T55. Bubble hash. But yeah, in like typical, I guess some might say, stoner fashion, like Homer Simpson in that episode, there he was a bit late coming with the information about the election. We had an election here yesterday in South Australia. Oh, so they had there's a LCSA. There's an LCA, it's Legalised Cannabis Australia, and Legalised Cannabis South Australia. I think there's one for each state. So I thought I'd share this kind of speech that the lady had in Parliament. Her name is Tammy Franks, and let's just get into it. It's a pretty good bill. There's a bill. We'll hear what they have to say. I'll go from there. Much peace to everybody too. Thank you for joining in. Hope you are doing good. You know, just good vibrations. Keeping with the culture, cannabis culture, and just like being the best you can be. I'll get into this video. Where is it here?
Clark.
A bill for an act to legalise cannabis and cannabis products, to regulate the sale, supply and advertising of cannabis and cannabis products, to make related amendments to the Controlled Substances Act 1984 and for other purposes.
The Honourable Ms Franks.
Thank you, Mr President. I move that the bill now be read a second time. It is high time we legalised cannabis for adult use in our state here in South Australia. While jurisdictions all over the world roll back prohibitions from the last century, we lag behind. The Greens want to change this. South Australia deserves leadership based on facts, not on fear. It is time for South Australian politicians to concede that a prohibition approach, that so-called war on drugs, has failed. Despite billions of dollars poured into this drug war, 1 in 3 Australians have tried cannabis. Prohibition has failed even by its very own standards. A government war on drugs is in fact a war on their very own people. When it comes to cannabis, that war on drugs is often a war on sick people, disabled people, and people desperate to get out of pain. It doesn't have to be this way. The ACT has taken a small step. South Australia can now take a great stride. Canada, Uruguay and others show us the way forward. We can see from those areas that have legalised cannabis that such a move has brought significant tax revenues. We can also see that cannabis can have real tangible benefits being legalised. Medicinal cannabis can get people out of pain or control their symptoms so that they can live their best lives. We should be seizing this opportunity to take money out of the pockets of organised crime and put it instead towards the public good and prosperity of our state. This bill envisions a state here in South Australia where this long demonised plant, a plant that our climate grows so well, is harvested and used to create a new source of wealth that can be put to good use, such as ailing our sick health system. A South Australia where cannabis profits are directed into preventative health and education, where cannabis users are diverted away from the criminal justice system, and indeed we take the money out of the pockets of organised crime. With this bill to legalise cannabis, we aim to make this vision a reality, to reimagine our state where those much touted offerings that were initiated by the Weatherall government of fine food and wine from our clean green environment become fine food, wine and weed from our clean green environment. It is possible, and indeed it is popular. There has been support from the expected quarters, but I'll draw members' attention to the Murdoch Press and the piece by the business editor, Cameron England, in today's Advertiser. Mr. England states in today's newspaper, and the Advertiser is far from a radical lefty Guardian type operation, and I quote, "The fact that we've had no serious debate about legalisation in this state in recent years must lead you to assume that our politicians remain beholden to staunch opponents of cannabis within their own parties, who currently sit outside mainstream thinking on this issue, at least around suburban barbecues, if not in the halls of Parliament. In the supposedly puritanical United States, where 14 states allow recreational use and 36 allow medical sales, cannabis sales revenue hit US $17.5 billion in 2020, according to a report in Forbes earlier this year. Those huge sale figures have translated into massive tax windfalls into the states, some of which have creatively filtered the money back into schools, healthcare and law enforcement. Colorado, for example, which taxes cannabis sales at 15%, set up a marijuana tax cash fund, which the statement can use for just those purposes. And Mr. England writes, "It's not some tie-dyed hippie selling a few bags of leafy weed down at the corner pub. The industry is sophisticated, with venture capital-backed firms producing a variety of smokable and edible products. And cannabis sale outlets in the US have more in common aesthetically with the Apple Store than the Cheech and Chong. Even the big alcohol firms are getting in on the act." Now, make no mistake, cannabis is a drug. And what I am arguing with this bill and what I'm putting forward is a model where we treat that drug as a health concern and regulate it in the way that we have.
I'll just stop for 1 second here, like not to kind of completely oppose and interrupt what she's saying, but I did have a little few thoughts, like the fact that how they're kind of totally basing it all on the taxation economic point of view, like is the only real main benefit of this plant. And the fact that she just said now that it's a drug. So, I mean, I can guess in that sense, but I kind of see it as it's a flower. And what she said before, what is it, the fine wine, food and weed, my instinct was to say probably fine wine, food and flower. I guess wine and weed do go together, but food and flower, because like it's just a stigmatic thing, and that's to the same point as she said, it's not really tie-dyed hippie selling this plant. I mean, even as so what if it was? I mean, I guess that's probably the grassroots essential of where it came. Does it have to be like in an Apple store with a suit and tie to be beneficial and good amongst society? Like, I highly doubt that. As we all commonly know, 1 in 3 people in the States, you just said, is partaken in consumption. So then that's the ones who come forth to say that they did. Maybe it's higher. Who's to know? I don't know where the statistic come from, but it's it's good to see that they're highlighting this, and they're trying to bring about this change. But I think if the change is going to come about in this way to be corporatized control, and that's another point I wanted to mention, that when she's saying it's a drug, this will give them the point of control and legislation too. It's not going to be free the flower, free the yarndi, as I always say. Like, as ganja's the greatest gift given, it's going to give them the chance, when they're saying it's a drug, is to still hold like prosecutable powers against people for a plant. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not really great. I think that needs to be continued to talk about, the actual culture of it, the grassroots level of it. But that's just my feeling. So I'll just keep going though. Much peace. Thanks for everybody sticking around. Hope you are chilling out and with the ganja. This is Tammy Franks, member of the Legalised Cannabis South Australia Party.
we have other substances, such as alcohol, which were once prohibited. Prohibition has failed. Let's look towards ensuring it can be provided safely and indeed keeping people out of the clutches of organised crime and keeping money out of pockets of organised crime. I'm delighted to hear that the Crime and Public Integrity Committee today has made some recommendations to look at this very issue. They have in their work looking at organised crime in this state had that penny drop moment, I believe, that many South Australians already have well before our Parliament. But let's look at the harm that our cannabis laws do as well. In fact, cannabis is the most used illicit drugs for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, with 1 in 4 for every non-Aboriginal person in custody for drug use. 4 Aboriginal people are in custody for that drug use. Indeed, as I have noted, 1 in 3 Australians have tried cannabis, but here in South Australia, it's estimated there's approximately 800,000 adult illicit cannabis consumers in our state, and that's between the ages of 18 and 60.
Just quickly stop that again. It's kind of hit me there exactly. You know, the fact that they're pointing out that the difference between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander and the rest of the community, that's something always kind of gets at me. Why are they classified in that sense? Are we all human and all Australian? Like, we should be all put in this pool. So that it did kind of even point to the fact that I was saying there, like, she's viewing it as a drug. She's gone straight into the, the legal side of it and how people are, like, getting locked up, and it's, I don't know. She'll keep going on that point, but that's it kind of hits home, and it's not really cool. But back on the fact she said 800,000 people to partake in South Australia, that just made me think through. Like, she's going to get into this, I think, the amount of money that it brings, but to think, if each person was to say put, $100, like per week. It's like, I think, what would it be? 800,000 times. It's like 8 million or 80 million. Yeah, that'd be 80 million. So if they were to put $10, 800,000 to put $10 a week, that's $8 million a week that would be going. So that is quite a lot of money that's going to be involved, and it already is involved, I guess, and everybody realizes that. But this is just, anyway, we'll keep going with it and see what she's got to say. But I was pretty disappointed with how she's just classifying the different racial classifications and stuff. But anyway.
Most typically. It is big business for crime. It should be something that we seize and make safe and reduce harm for those who suffer. This bill provides a way forward. It establishes a legal market which legalises the adult use and possession of cannabis. I know many people talk about recreational use, but I want members of Parliament, as many members of the public do, to understand this is not simply recreation. It is quite much broader than that, but it is very much an adult use model that this bill puts forward. This bill establishes an SA Cannabis Licensing Agency to regulate the cannabis market with the aim of harm minimisation and ensuring compliance with conditions of what would be commercial licences. It is safer. It ensures that those cannabis consumers, and there are so many of them, even under the illicit system, it ensures cannabis consumers have access to safe and regulated products. It requires cannabis products to be labelled with health warnings and information about the strains, for example, the THC or CBD contents. It prohibits those retailers who would participate in this industry from publicly promoting or advertising cannabis. It keeps cannabis out of the hands of minors, and it prohibits cannabis stores being operated within 200 metres of a school or a childcare centre. It ends the black market and breaks the organised crime business model. It also reduces the police resources that we currently put towards that war on people that is really the reality of the war on drugs. It creates new green industry for our state, and it increases tax revenue that can be invested in health and education. The bill beyond that also allows for the home grow of up to 6 cannabis plants, with more possible on compassionate grounds. This recognises that we have made legal medicinal cannabis, but it also recognises that while it may be legal, it is still very much out of the ability for many who wish to alleviate their symptoms, their pain, their suffering, to access, not simply because the bureaucracy is so difficult and the red tape around it is so difficult, which I do acknowledge is becoming less burdensome, but of course the price remains out of reach for far too many, particularly those in poverty.
That's a huge point. Happy that she mentioned it, because I'll definitely, can vouch for that. That there's so many, and I'll continue to say it, like there's so many people who are missing out, who are basically already currently in a position where they are medicating and seeking and gaining so much benefit. And it's unfortunate because they're accessing, if they're getting high grade, more power to them, but the unfortunate fact is that there's a lot of poor quality out there on the black market, which may have these medicinal benefits there, but there's going to be a lot of toxicity within the plant too. The good thing about these medicinal flowers, they're kind of very stringently tested, I guess, to be clean, and I'll definitely say that in my experience of smoking in the past few months, that I definitely I can feel these isolated effects, like of the cannabis, the sativa, the indica, whatever the dominant feature is of the flower. It really is accentuated because I experienced it, whereas high grade street, I didn't really find that, and I'm not sure, but my gut feeling is that it is due to the toxicity that was there. It caused an imbalance, and I didn't, it wasn't as accentuated as I said, but so hopefully they do consider getting the price more reasonable. Considerably, even I think in this stage, if you're on the east coast of Australia, the street prices is pretty comparative. Like if you're talking $20 a gram, then this medicinal is actually probably cheaper and of a higher quality. You can't buy, I think, anything over 30 grams at a time, like in one tub. Most of these tubs are $10 containers, and the price remains the same. It just incrementally goes up per gram. I have heard from other prescribers though that they're bringing in a 10 gram, 20% flour for $90. So that'll be really good. But see, as opposed to street prices in the state, South Australia or Adelaide, from my experience, it's about $10 a gram. So that is quite a bit cheaper than, say, $23 a gram. But that's a huge point, because even though that this is their whole base kind of, not the whole, but it's a very strong part of the argument, is the amount of economic that it's going to stimulate. Is it about getting as much money as you can and letting people miss out, or should we kind of think about it and get the benefit to everybody, and maybe even subsidize all these other I guess that's the other medication with big pharma and things like that. When you go to the chemist and it's under a script, you only pay $5-6. But anyway, I'll keep ranting on about that for a long time, because I'll keep talking about it until the change comes in the price. So let's just get it out there.
And so, of course, they are the patients who are resorting currently to the black market because they simply cannot afford the medicine that they need to live their best lives. This would allow those people to grow a plant that helps them heal. It also looks at the damage that we've done with previous cannabis convictions, and it goes to some way through that agency, the SA Cannabis Licensing Agency, to look at the process of eliminating some minor past cannabis convictions for personal use. And indeed, many members will be aware of Jenny Hallam, who of course was subject to a 2-year good behaviour bond and went through many years in the courts for producing and making oils. She never grew a single plant to make those oils that people who were suffering and sick came to her to seek support to make. And indeed, she took a loss on making those oils, which was recognised in her long and arduous journey through the courts. She is very much somebody who has been...
Just a quick stop there. I better shout out the fact that you know, the lady that she was mentioning, like a huge advocate, pioneering advocate, you know, frontline, gone through huge court cases. That Jenny, you know, she's come through on Hawk's channel, Smokescreen TV. So that's, you know, a huge sign to see how, you know, how down to earth she is, and, you know, kind of partaking in the frontline battle with the people. So it's a massive shout out to that. Everybody should check it out. Check her out and, you know, get with the fight.
Greatly harmed by the criminalisation of cannabis in this state. And people like Jenny are those who I hope that members of this parliament will have in mind as they consider this matter. That particular court case, I believe, did capture the interests of not just South Australians, but all Australians. Jenny's house being raided the very month that we saw medicinal cannabis made legal in this state, and then the many years of quite traumatic court processes that she was put through and subjected to due to our failed laws and our failed leadership. I don't want to see anybody put through that again simply because they have compassion for others or they seek to heal themselves and alleviate pain, sickness and suffering, whether it's a cancer patient who addresses, you know, the range of issues that going through those particular medical processes leads them, whether it's the pain, whether it's the appetite stimulant, whether it's the nausea that they seek to address as they supplement the more orthodox medical processes, or whether it's those people who have, you know, chronic arthritis and the like. We should not be criminalising patients in this day and age. And I think with the legalisation of medicinal cannabis, we have made that quantum leap in our thinking, but now we have to make another quantum leap and recognise this is a plant. It is a plant that was once grown quite legally. It is a plant that has a long history, and it is a plant that around the world increasingly governments are recognising through the leadership largely of people that should no longer be prohibited. I refer members again to...
I just stop that quickly. There's another point that, you know, I kind of said that previously a lot, that we're the only past, like she said, that it was past prevalent use among society. So, you know, we're the only part, it's 3 generations, I think, so the past like 100 or so years since they've had this prohibition from Henry Anslinger. In the US, it started pretty much the war, and this war on drugs that kind of we know. And, you know, that's a bit of a shame. So, like, prior to that, it's only 100 years within the time frame of society that it's been banned and people have missed out. So, like, it's huge. We got to bring it back. It was always like, you know, if you think about your great grandparents, big chance that they would have, you know, been exposed to cannabis, and, you know, not to say using it every day or whatnot, but just it might have been in different products that they had, or it definitely would have been around in culture.
Cameron England in the Advertiser's article today, and he sums up his opinion piece with, if South Australian politicians really want to set the economy on fire, they should move as fast as they can to be the first in the nation to legalise recreational cannabis, pun very much intended. It would be a massive boon for the state, with hundreds of millions in pent-up investment dollars sure to flow to the first Australian jurisdiction which allows the cultivation and or sale of cannabis, with jobs and tax revenue not far behind. The fact that cannabis for recreational use remains illegal in Australia despite its widespread use and social acceptance in the community is both a missed opportunity and highlights the detachment of our political leaders from those they purport to represent. The illegal status of cannabis provides rivers of illicit gold for the outlaw motorcycle gangs we've been trying so hard to eradicate, while at the same time denying governments a lucrative revenue stream. It's bizarre, really. Mr. England is somewhat pessimistic and believes that we will fail to seize this opportunity. I am not so. I also draw members' attention to the fact that we are not the only state investigating this issue, that Queensland has had a referral to their Productivity Commission in that state, which certainly looked at the imprisonment and recidivism issues, and through that particular inquiry noted and recommended the benefits of legalisation of cannabis and MDMA. And I do draw members' attention to that particular document that's come out in the last few years, the summary report of the Queensland Productivity Commission into imprisonment and recidivism. Page 22 of that document shows the benefits that could be drawn from the legalisation of cannabis and MDMA in that. Page 23 also outlines the growing support for drug reform and indeed the legalisation of cannabis in the community. So this is something where the community is far ahead of parliaments, but another parliament in Victoria has also taken a long, hard look at this issue, and I also refer members to the work of the leader for the Reason Party in the Victorian Parliament, the Honourable Fiona Patten, MLC, there in cooperation with the Andrews government, where they've also undertaken an inquiry into cannabis use in that state. These are the starting documents that we can use as a foundation, as well as looking to the experience of the ACT in their progressive but minimal reforms that they've undertaken now for well over a year, where we haven't seen the sky fall in, we haven't seen an increase in car accidents or the like, or indeed what we have seen is a reduction in people being criminalised for consuming a plant. And when you put it like that, I think it should be a reasonably simple argument, but of course it is not. I would hope that this bill is the start of a conversation. I certainly, on behalf of the Greens, say we will be taking this to the state election as a key reform that the next Parliament should enact. I would hope that members will be interested in having and continuing this conversation. There are many and varied ways to do it. In the past, where things have been too morally difficult, we've referred things off to the salary. That is an option here. We've seen the Crime and Public Integrity Committee call for further work and investigation, and that work should be cross-party, should it happen, on the use of cannabis in this state and ways of breaking the business model of serious and organised crime. One would imagine that we could do our heavy lifting as a parliament, as well as then maybe draw on bodies such as the Productivity Commission, as the Queensland government has done. This is not an intractable issue. This is an issue of opportunity, but this is, for me, primarily an issue of compassion. I have been drawn into this debate through my experience and advocacy for those around medicinal cannabis and the heartbreaking stories of those families, those people who have struggled and been criminalised by the fact that we, over a century ago, prohibited a plant for reasons that I won't go into here, but certainly anyone who's viewed the film Reefer Madness will question really who is mad in this debate. With those words, I commend the bill to the Council.
Oh, right. That's pretty dope there. So that video is just legalised it. And it's Tammy Franks talking to the, I think, South Australian Parliament there. So yeah, just pushing that forward, man. Gotta get that change. I mean, I did speak the points through there. What I thought, a little bit of, what my opinion is of, how they're viewing it as a drug, and that they're going to try. I mean, we'll deem control. We'll give them, classification of criminal status and things like that, and it's all just about the money. In suits and ties, the Apple shop. She was, and she didn't want people in a stigmatization still of the hippie and the tie-dyed shirt. It is what it is. She said what she said. I'll put the link down there for the StreamYard if anybody does want to come through and just say like what they thought about the video or their opinion about any change that could come, should come, the industry as it is, or their experience. It's all good. If you don't, just hang around for a couple of minutes and then we'll get to it. We'll get rid of this. So much appreciation, definitely, for everybody sticking around, coming through, man. It really does mean a lot. So, what was the question there, Mark? No, I think Tammy Franks is from the LCSA, which is a legalized cannabis South Australia, formerly the Hemp Party. As I said, I think there's LCA as a legalized cannabis Australia party, and I'm pretty sure there's like different. Each state has their different like delegation to do an LC, something like that. So you got to get about it. As I said, I'm only doing this as of yesterday. We did have an election here in South Australia, and it's good to see that the legalized cannabis party is on the bill or on the ballot. Sorry, and they're there trying to push forward this bill for the change. It's pretty cool. It's pretty chill. I'm just chilling here with some Whopper or Wapper, however people want to call it. It's a T55. Might have a couple of bills and bust out. Big mad appreciation once again for Dave coming through, man, from the Felon Show. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's like kind of like Ellen, but Felon, as he said. Really don't show though. Don't joke. Got authentic, honest, great stories. Bringing about good change in people, trying to change that stigma, that perception that people have about lifestyles, and not even that, just exposing other people. Yeah, it's right to what goes down. But I was going to bring up something else, but there was, we'll just leave it at that. That was pretty cool for the sermon. Let's have. Well, we can go have a little quick see over here. Go to here, and I'll go to that. Go to this, that. What I wanted to check out, I'll go on to the Canada Reviews AU's website. That's at Dale Sunflower. I just wanted to go check if there has been any changes in the flower. Oh, we got 103 now. So last time I saw it, it was 101 different flowers. That's gone up quite dramatically quickly. It's another great site, because as we're not advertising is not allowed. So people who, if you do get onto the medicinal program, like don't be shocked at the fact that they can't really describe you the product, they can't show you the product. You just have to kind of purchase it before you can gain any opinion about it. But the good thing, there is this website. This is where you should really go, because it allows patients to put their own comment or review up, like comment and put pictures if they want. So that's really good. And you can find the clinics, doctors, they show the price and all these different. It's awesome. They've got the just breakdown of all the flowers there, like where it comes from, the terpenes, the THC levels, the price percentage, and that you can't put too like as I said, they this website can't put the picture there, but the patient can in their review. So I'll just see if I can find what the new one is. I think that I haven't seen that. Nolia. I'm not sure. Has anybody seen that one? Nolia from Med Relief. It's discontinued. What is it? It's a CBD 6.5. Oh, it's a mix 4.3 THC 6.5 CBD. Yeah, that's probably why I didn't have a look at it. Hey. Let's get going there. Oh, Kind Juice. Coming soon. Early April 2022. Let's check this out. I did try one tweet. We'll get one to that there in a second. 135 for 24%. Indica Dom Hybrid. What's the size of the tub? Hang on. So jet fuel gelato, cross between gelato 45, high octane OG, and jet fuel OG G6. 10 grams for the 135. That's their recommended retail. Coming from Canada. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. Pretty cute. This one here, Tweed. I tried the Hindu Kush. No, 8%. I'll be trying that one. So that's probably something I haven't seen. I definitely like the Girl Scout from Beacon. Green Gelato from Relief. Unfortunately, isn't from what I've been told, it's an exclusive flower. So there's only one doctor out there that's prescribing it, and I don't know who that doctor is. Well, I probably could find out through this fella, but he told me his name actually, but I didn't pay attention. I've tried this one, Kenrick's. It was really good. Really good. Like that was the Exodus one, pretty decent for the price that it's at. It's on the lower end. It's 120, but I kind of got it for 140. So the prices that are on here, it obviously are a recommended retail. So the dispensary or pharmacist can add their markup on it before it gets to this stage. I mean, they could make it more actually. They don't have to put it at what they recommend to price it. I can't see Mandarin cookies. That's pretty everybody. I've tried. I can't access it yet, but a lot of people are talking about it. Say it's good. Heyday Night and Day. It's got good reviews, but actually I can't access it either. So that's the only reason I want to try and get onto CDA, get onto the OpenScript, but unfortunately one of the prescribers is coming with an OpenScript thing too. She's already got it, but I think it's dependent on whether the chemist you go to or she goes can actually stock that or something like that. So I'll make an appointment and talk to her. I can't see anything different here. Yeah, and everybody, if you're into some music, come through tomorrow. Music on Monday. Actually went to an awesome event yesterday, the Sun Festival. It's like South Australian African Cultural Festival. Really cool, great, like entertainment. Good at real close friends of mine. Playback 808 performed there. Diaspora, Ajax, a few other artists, and they had some food and stuff like that. I think it went all day, but we got there like the evening. Should check that event out. Go next year if you want. It's good to see that actually too. All the what's it. Lockdown and all these things are kind of easing up restrictions so that events can start flowing back in entertainment and arts, to have live gigs, live music. You can get up and actually kind of have a jig around and dance. So it's good. There was a time there where we couldn't. We had to you could go, but you have to sit down and watch. You couldn't get up and dance. It's a bit strange. Anyway, I'll keep going. So 103. Red number 1, 2. That's a pretty good reviews and stuff, but I can't access it. There's another Exodus. Or maybe no. Or maybe that's the one I had. No, but I said the floss THC, I'm sure. Or maybe a little bit Cherry Punch. That sounds really dope. Vespera. That might be a new one. Ooh, high 13%, 13.6 CBD, so really high CBD flower. Might be these two. These are the two new ones. They're kind nice, 22% THC, 135. Probably for the 10 grams. Indica dominant, otherwise known as Pink Kush, Vancouver. So that's a really strange, eh? See, Kind Rosa is the trademark from Kind Relief for this flower, but otherwise known as Pink Kush. Yeah, a bit strange. What's the difference between what have they made different to trademark it? Or did they just buy a license to trademark it? I don't know. Just that name. British Columbia original Canadian favorite. This dense, often purple hue flower has lineage to OG Kush and is well known to produce a euphoric full body effect popular for relieving pain, anxiety, and stress. Oh, sorry, if there's anybody in the back, I didn't check. I know, all good. I dropped a link there. If anybody does want to pop up and have a chat, I'll just drop it again. I've got a few people in the house, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for that. Like chilling out, coming through. I just hope you're doing good as can be. Just checking out this Canna Review website, obviously, after listening to Tammy Franks and her little speech about pushing forward the bill to legalize cannabis in Australia or South Australia, which would be so awesome. Okay, here we go. Along with creating its effect and appearance, the caryophyllene, bisabolol, and humulene present in Rosa's trichomes leave an aroma of white pepper, orange, and butterscotch. Wow, that sounds pretty yum. Rosa, like all kind medical flowers, is sun-grown in a modern greenhouse. That's awesome. Naturally pest and disease resistant, grown in coconut husk fiber, and fed proprietary plant food. All of this meaning it is 100% natural, pesticide-free, and non-GMO. Wow, that's awesome. I think because there are a few flowers grown under lights, so it's really good to see there's some sun-grown stuff out there. I definitely kind of vouch for that. There's something that the sun has, which you can't really replicate. So really, a flower was really good. What's the hours of sun exposure, then fucking you get a good product. So, you got to water it and treat it right, but just show that attention. Bloody awesome. All right, so you got Hookster up in here. They're the main man from Smoke Scaring TV. Everybody check it out. Bring him up.
G'day, mate.
How are you, bro?
I didn't want to jump up because I wanted to listen to you. You're doing good. Awesome show, man.
That's all right. Chill.
Trimming my stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I chat to to a couple of those ladies regularly. And
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of the big pharma, like you brought up. That's a big problem. Getting involved, but I don't know. Maybe there's loopholes there for it to get, like she said. Hopefully people can grow. She wants people to be able to grow. But she didn't mention licenses or anything like that. But I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think Jenny's going now for federal rather than.
Oh wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so she's gonna skip the. I don't know. I think she might end up going skipping the other one. The South Australia.
No, that's good.
I just got a feeling.
Hey, what's going on there? Yeah, I haven't really. I had a look a bit. That's good. Bit early, is it? Oh.
Yeah, but just because I've got some of the seeds already, So I'm only
Oh,
after
yeah.
seeds. So I'm
Yeah.
not really worried about the quality, smoking or anything. And just small little buds. But they're real sticky.
Where's the thing? For a lighter.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, probably blow
Fair.
this Billy.
Watch. If you want to stick it
Oh,
in.
okay. Yeah. See? He's got glue on his fingers just from touching or it's resin. Just from having the feel of the plant. That's brilliant. That's what you want, right?
This is from around the corner, the low light grow. This is what I got from
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like, yeah. I've chopped all these out. These were bigger buds, but I'm trying to harvest the seeds and the bud. I want to cure the seeds in the bud still, as natural as possible. You know.
Okay. I'll put it up on the front. Show
So
it again.
it's not much of a bud.
Okay. Still looks alright. Oh. You
So
see that?
it's not really much to
Good
smoke.
smell?
I will actually smoke it. I will smoke it, but I'm just interested in harvesting for the seeds. But it does smell really good. So I'm going to use the for oil and stuff like that, or whatever medicine.
Oh, yeah. Wicked. It's interesting how the lady was saying that she didn't actually get any oil, or we were just talking about Jenny in the speech. She didn't get, she got the oil from not any plant. She didn't use a plant. I don't know how she would have done it, but we'll have a look at it. But probably burn it. I'll burn a flower.
Yeah, she probably got it from someone else.
Oh. Anyway, peace to everybody. Chop this up, burn it up. We out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to I'll pack a billy up. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
That was a really good show, mate. Honest, that was fantastic.
I just saw that video. I was like, shit, pretty decent. Should show everyone.
Yeah. I chat. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but they're awesome people. Jenny's really just amazing.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
Big
what
farmers
kind of needs
scare
to
me.
be done, though. Yeah, that's the change that needs to come. Like, that stigma needs to go. It's not harming anybody at all. The things that she's doing, the plant itself, it's only helping. So if people see it front line, exposed to it, get used to it, the change will come. Because they're just thinking from what they're hearing and heard that, oh, it's criminal, it's bad. So
yeah, they're worried about you know why? Because there's a lot of, I think, older generations also, like they don't want to disappoint their parents, for example.
true.
Right? Because they think their parents are already, like you said, for 100 years. This has been drilled into their head. So 3 generations of, full generations of just saying that it's
Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
no
that's
matter
me.
what happens with the laws, they're always going to see it as a drug or a narcotic that is harmful, unfortunately, and they're hard to break.
That's a huge thing. Like, I mean, that's come from my experience. My parents never did anything illegal. So, I'm the first one to kind of break out. I'm not really open with it at the moment. They know I smoke, obviously. Now that I'm medical, I haven't told them about that yet. And so I haven't been back to Brisbane. But when I do go, I've actually thought about that. What's it going to be like? I mean, I'm sure I would like to even give some to mum and dad.
Well,
just
you
let
know
them
what?
try it.
By the time you go back, you'll have a successful YouTube channel. You'll be educating yourself on it, and you'll have something to say, "I'm learning," and and really to look up to.
Yeah.
So realistically, you should always be proud, and don't worry, you'll find the words.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And then also, I don't think because my mother doesn't she only drink on the occasion, really. So giving her something like a Rocky or something for the first go would be a real kind of strong hit for the first walk in the park. You might want to ease it into it. Just have a couple puffs on a mid-level.
Oh, my brother, good show. See you next time.
All right, Buzz.
Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Everybody check it out. Much appreciation, bro, coming through. Probably bust out of here. There we go. Just run through. I appreciate everybody come through. We got Felon Show, Smokescreens TV, Brendan and Buttercup, Small Dog, Sea Dog, Cones, Chef, Mark, Suckertoon, PDF, the Poor Little Farmer, all the way from Miami. No, not Miami, sorry, all the way from Florida. Sorry, not Miami, all the way from Florida. John Sky, Googly, Knight, Ozindica, and that's it, I think. So much appreciated. If I didn't miss you, 15 people up in here, but much peace. Keep going with the green. Easy, bro. Thanks for that, man. I might try and do that. If I can make it a regular thing to have the Sunday sesh. But I'll be doing music tomorrow. So, yeah, once again, really do appreciate everybody. And let's bring about that change for, the weed that we want. Bring forward that culture. What it's about. Stay good.